Yeah, it's not even on here, so people can go to it from here. We go. Now it's showing.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Peaceful Nik the Medium. I'm so honored to be here with Linda G. Comanche. I love it. And we're going to just get to know each other, and you guys can ask questions. I'm excited. I'm thrilled.
There we go. I
Hello.
was supposed to be on her show yesterday, and I messed up.
Well, I am so excited, and I'll just tell you a little bit about me. I have crazy curly hair, and it's humid where I live, so it's going to be wild, and that's just the way it is.
I had curly hair too back in the day.
I am an evidential medium. I'm actually also a scientist. I work in science, communication, and education. I have a master's degree in astronomy and a bachelor's degree in biology. I've worked in science, communication, and education for 20 years. I've been a full-time medium for about 6 years. It hit me like a ton of bricks one day, and that's a whole other story. But it has changed my life completely. I still work in science, communication, and education part-time, but full-time, I am a medium, and I just cannot wait to learn more about you, Linda.
Did you have something happen in your life that kicked off that mediumship?
Yes.
What happened with you?
So I raised my kids. I worked 2 jobs teaching at high school and in college. Been married 29 years. I got a phone call one day from my sister that our friend's son passed away. Now, I hadn't seen him in 25 years since he was a newborn because I moved to Georgia, which I hear you're from.
That's where I was born.
So I hadn't seen this baby for 25 years. And as soon as my sister said Brandon died, and I have permission to share the story, in my head, I knew it was a drug overdose, claircognizantly. Well, that was common for me, and I didn't know it was an ability. I thought everybody just knew things. I know that sounds crazy, but I thought that. So hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lisa. Ness. Thanks, you guys, for coming.
So I lay down to take a nap, and now that I know your alpha waves change when you rest, that's when the mediumship can kick in. This had never happened to me before. In my mind's eye, as clear as I see you on the screen, Brandon came to me as a full-grown adult who I've never met, said, "Tell my mom I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it." I could see his red sweater, his gold chain, his black hair, his full face. And I sat up because I had just laid down. So I wasn't asleep. I sat up and I was shocked. So I talked to the mom. I talked to my sister. It was a drug overdose, all of that. And I blew it off to a one-off because I'm working. I'm working. I'm doing laundry. I'm cooking and cleaning and doing human stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then a few months later, it happened again with my daughter-in-law's grandmother. And she passed away at home in hospice care. My son was with her and my daughter-in-law. And in my head that day, I kept seeing this red heart blasting in my head like bullets through my brain, and it wouldn't go away. It had her name on it. And I'm like, I called my son and I said, "Oh my God, Dottie will not leave me alone. She's putting this red heart in my mind and I cannot sleep. I can't think. I can't do anything. She's just blasting it in my brain constantly." He sent me a text message immediately of a red heart with her name on it that he picked up off her nightstand when she passed.
Oh my God.
My knees buckled. I almost fainted because I'm a scientist.
Yeah. It is remarkable what happens.
And so I thought I either need a CAT scan or something. So I scoured the internet. At some point, I realized it was mediumship because I'd heard of mediumship. My mom was super woo-woo, and I'd seen mediumship stuff, through my life, but I didn't realize what it entailed. And I found a mentor and took a bunch of classes and got certified to teach mediumship. And I've been a professional medium ever since.
So people can get readings with you?
Absolutely. That's what I did all day today.
And so you do mediumship or any future prophecy?
I do mediumship professionally. I obviously am psychic because all mediums are psychic, right? But I don't do psychic mediums for money because I haven't been properly trained to do psychic readings. Now,
Right.
it's on my list of things to do, but I don't want to do readings if I'm not properly trained for that.
Right.
But for mediumship, I've been.
Well, I never had any proper training, and I do readings and mediumships. I see the dead all the time. The only thing I won't take money for is for children, missing children.
I don't know. I just don't feel like I have enough information to.
Well, you're thinking from that side of the brain because you're a scientist. So
right.
You think you have to have the credentials.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's a good point. I never thought of that. Yeah. I never thought of that. So here I am.
But you have a YouTube channel, correct?
Yes, I do. It's Peaceful Nik the Medium. All my socials are Peaceful Nik the Medium.
You guys be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, I do lives all the time. I have a ton of information. I have tips and tricks with Peaceful Nik. I have mediumship learning. I have an online digital course you can download. It's equivalent to 6 months worth of mediumship. It's a beginner 6-month mediumship course. It's only $27. It downloads right to your email box. I have tons of videos. I have a Patreon. I have TikTok, Twitter.
So what's the key? For someone like me, it just comes natural. But what's the key? What do you teach somebody that would love to do mediumship but has no clue how to do it?
First, learn how to quiet your mind.
That's a big one.
Because I have a hamster wheel. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, we all do.
Yeah. Quiet your mind. Learn what the clairs are. See, I didn't know anything. I literally went to my first class and knew zero, except some YouTube videos I watched.
Yeah.
I learned about the clairs, your extrasensory perceptions. I learned about my spirit guides, which I did not believe were real.
Okay.
Because I didn't know. And then I had to test my spirit guide, and I have a beautiful story about snow globes in my spirit guide. And guides, how to connect to spirit, how to move your mind to spirit, how to know what's a connection to spirit versus what's your own mind. That's really important.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Making sure you don't bring any negativity from your own life into your reading. That's a big one. And gosh, so much. There's so much more than that. But that's
How long have you been doing YouTube?
Probably 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've been on here for a while.
Yeah, but I didn't really put a lot of videos up to like the last year and a half.
Okay.
Because I had a huge following on TikTok, but it has stagnated for me. So the last year I've been moving way more towards YouTube for obvious reasons.
Was someplace you could do like readings from?
I did thousands of free readings on TikTok my first couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that'll get you remedied.
Yeah.
Because I've read thousands of people. And when you first start off, I used to just take a donation. When you first start off, it's like a muscle. It gets better and better.
Yes. And that's exactly what I'm finding. How long have you been a medium?
Well, I probably since before I got cancer, and that was in 2019 or 2009. Sorry, not 2019. I started YouTube in 2018. So I was seeing dead people back when I was a lot younger, and I'm going on 72. So 50, 60 years.
Oh,
But really being able to talk to the dead post-cancer. So that was 2009. That's when stuff like when I'm reading a woman and her deceased husband, and I hear a man talking across my room where my phone is. She could hear it too. I pick up my phone, and on my phone says, "In our realm, anything is possible." So I did a screenshot of it, and she heard it too. But that's out and out. Third dimension.
Yeah, that's, and it's beautiful. It's changed every single thing about my life. It's changed how I feel about the world, about politics, about people, about loved ones. And a bunch of people are saying they subbed to my channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to build it. I go live there all the time. It's just hard in the algorithm, to get out there. So I really appreciate that. It's at Peaceful Nik, Nik. I appreciate any subs I can get. And I do readings there as well. But I wanted to ask, I took some notes because I was watching some of your videos. And
was there any stripping involved? That was when I was young.
Hey, I have a great sense of humor, and I think that's awesome.
The way I talk about doing the pole dance on a telephone pole and getting splinters in my thighs.
I love it. You talk a lot about current political stuff, and I do.
That's it. I don't know why, and to tell you the truth, I wasn't very political back in my younger. I was a nurse. I worked all the time. So
you have scientific background as well.
Yeah, but this realm of love that comes from the other side, it's breathtaking. And what I want, when I was in my bedroom minding my own beeswax, and that man said to me in my right ear, as clear as day, "You're going to do a YouTube channel." And I thought, no, I don't want to get up and brush my hair. And he said, "Linda, you will help calm them down." And I said, and when I'm a Virgo, so you know how Virgos are.
Oh, my husband's a Virgo.
Yeah,
he's 9/9.
I'm 9/10.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'm a Sag, 12/7.
Oh, okay. That's a good sign. Yeah. So I just said, fair enough, I'll do it. And I didn't know what I was doing or how I was doing it. My son knew a little bit about YouTube. He signed me up. I just sat in front of the thing and just started talking. But what happens is they wanted everybody to know it's going to be okay. No matter what bull, this is a really rough time internationally.
Yep.
Even ecologically, this is a tough time. And to help people get out of their own energy and know that there's a realm so much more passionate and loving that stands here for you, because you shouldn't be afraid. You should not be afraid. Even if they say, even with death, there's not, like people get so worried about death, but actually death is the best part.
Well, it's interesting because it's almost like you're psychic, because what I was going to talk about was keeping the conversation positive and realistic, because on your, you had a download, you were talking about not talking trash about the guy with the orange makeup.
Yeah. Orange crush.
My son calls him Fanta, Hitler. I don't know if we'll get banished if I say it out loud. Which I think is hilarious, but it's hard not to, because it's so in our faces all the time. Constantly.
Well, it's as close to Hitler we're getting in this lifetime, because this man, he's not as smart as Hitler was, but he's as ugly and terrible and just lies. He's telling everybody President Biden has stage 9 cancer. It's like, you're such
9 is there's not even a stage.
It's not even
the ignorance. The ignorance is horrifying, and the willful ignorance of the people who back him up is even more horrifying.
And what's happening is that the people, because when he won, and I told my guides, why did this happen? And they said, man has free will, but we want you to know his people need to see who he really is. And he's doing that right now.
It is astonishing and devastating, but I think and people may unfollow me for this, but there is always a reason for everything happening.
Yes.
And there's
always a reason. And I would tell you, forget about it, you guys, pack your bags, move someplace else. We will get through this.
Yes.
Because the light is shining, let me tell you, and there's much more good people. And Rachel Maddow, who I was mad at for a while, I never watched her show. I've been watching recently, and you should see the protests going on. They're not doing violent protests. They're just marching.
I've seen some snippets. I had to turn the news off on November 5th.
I don't blame you. A lot of people did. I did too for a long time.
And I just see little snippets, and that's all I can take.
Yeah.
The longer I'm a medium, the more sensitive I am, especially since I work from home. So I'm not always around people. So I'm even more sensitive now.
Yeah.
And so I have to really watch that. But it is, I mean, it was really bad to go through all that.
Right. And then that Elon came in and cut all these. You guys, this is going to turn around though, because they're cutting the people that actually liked him.
Right. And that's the thing that they didn't realize was going to happen.
Those poor Venezuelans, they were having Trump parties. They were dancing, the Cubans, they were dancing, vote for President Trump. Mm-hmm. And now what's he doing? He's going to ship them all off.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I saw, and I don't know if it was real or not, a Hispanic person with a Hispanics for Trump shirt getting deported. I don't know if that was real or fake, because you don't know. This was a couple months ago. But
I wouldn't doubt it, but you can't tell.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for the subs, for the follows. I've already, been getting all kinds of people subscribing to my website. I just am so grateful for so many things. And for this.
Well, I mean, the one good news about having me on your show is I can get you some subs.
Woohoo! Yeah, that's great.
I can get you some good pastrami too if you lived around here.
Well, I did used to live near you not that long ago. So yes, I love the Bay Area. I miss the Bay Area very, very much. And growing up in I lived in San Francisco proper in the 80s and 90s, and it formed a lot of who I am.
Yeah, I really enjoyed San Fran back in those days.
Yeah, very much. It's very different now. Very different.
I could find anywhere I needed to go, no problem. And since I got old, I'm scared to death to drive in the city.
Yeah, I didn't like it either anymore now that I'm grown. But I wanted to also talk about your opinion on women's health issues in this current administration, because I want to know what your psychic prediction is. I've watched tons of your videos, but I don't recall hearing you talk anything about that. It's very important to me. I have 2 daughters-in-law, both live in states with very restrictive laws. Just had my first grandbaby, and she lives in Georgia. My daughter-in-law lives in Georgia, and I was worried every second of her pregnancy.
Yeah, if something bad happened, they wouldn't let her. Yeah. This is all going to change within the next 2 years. Everything that Trump touches turns to crap. So within the next 2 years, after we have the big onslaught of the blue, and I see them working double time to help women's issues. I see a lot of powerful women really helping out. But don't worry. I'm sorry this has put a stale. They were even talking about fighting that pill again, that abortion pill.
Yeah, methylpristone, I think it's called.
Yeah.
This
guy paid for abortions with his love.
Oh, I know. Oh, I read lots of the documents of the court case with the 12-year-old and the 13-year-old and all that stuff. And that he's there again blows my mind. And I wonder what you think about this. The election results and that he won every swing state.
No, that's a lie. Elon Musk set that all up. That's why he's so indebted to Elon Musk. Russia did help, but they didn't help as much as they could have. Elon Musk did.
I think you're probably right on that, because it doesn't make sense. And I believe he was saying to Joe Rogan or somebody a few hours before they called the election, that's it, he won.
Yeah.
How did he know that?
Exactly. Listen, down the road, and I've said this, you probably heard me say this before, this man, Donald Trump, will be found to have been a fraud, illegitimate traitor to the United States of America. And everything he touched, there will be no library. None. He is a fraud.
Yeah, I'm probably I've lost subscribers before for my opinions on this, but I can't hide my truth, and it's very important that I speak truth to how I feel about things.
Right,
And
right.
I'm not going to pretend that I don't believe in science. I don't believe in women's rights and health issues and health care and bodily autonomy, and that criminals shouldn't be president.
Exactly. But you know what? I don't know who the people that dropped off, but good riddance. Look at, I'm hitting 130,000 now.
I
I
know,
got
it's
this.
incredible.
So I speak the truth, and I'm not losing people. I'll tell you, initially when he won, I lost like 1,000 subscribers, and I just thought, how can I even show my face again? And they told me, that's when they said to me, his people need to see who he really is. And then I just started telling everybody what I was getting, and then it just blew up. I just got loads of subscribers.
You know,
So
it's interesting because I recommended you to my sister, who is, I'm sure, on here watching, and it's funny. She recommended you back to me. Like, she has some early onset dementia, so she didn't remember that
that sounds like me.
I.
I have a little short-term memory loss from chemo,
Mm.
and I still carry it a little bit. But she said, "Watch this girl. Watch this big-headed girl."
I think that you are, because I remember when I recommended you to my sister, it was before the election. And when I looked at your page last week, I'm like, wow, she blew up. Like, because I watch your videos, but I don't pay attention to how many subscribers
Right,
people
right.
have.
I don't either on people. Yeah,
Yeah, I just watch who I like.
right.
And you were one of the people I like the most and watch more
Thank you.
regularly. But I think that we are here. I think the awakening for many of us happened during this last 5, 6 years, 10 years, because we need more healers. We need
Healing
more
in
positive
all
people.
forms. Healing in all forms.
Yes. We need more positive people. We need more people to spread light instead of darkness.
Right.
Because there's a lot of darkness. You can find darkness anywhere
Anyway,
you want.
the other thing, may I say, about reading the dead, I've had clients that get stuck on wanting me to read a specific person who's deceased over and over and over again. And that's not healthy.
Right.
That's not healthy for them or the deceased person.
Well, and I've
But
had to tell people, don't get any more readings from me.
yeah, because that can be, I do understand people who love their children and really would like to talk to their child. But I mean, I don't mind once a year, but not once every 3 months or whatever. But anyway,
Right.
a very interesting comment was said to me. And, you know, I wasn't raised Catholic, I wasn't religious at all. But I heard as clear as day what Jesus said to Mary when she went to the tomb. Why do you look for the living? Why do you look for the dead amongst the living?
Wow.
And that's kind of the energy I get, is that they're not really dead. They're still as alive, if not more alive.
I agree with that.
Than they were on earth. So, you know, we mourn. Some people get so caught up in the mourning that they can't look for the forest for the trees. You know, they just can't look outside of that.
Yeah.
And decide to be in a punitive state, if anything. And it really affects the deceased one because they're trying to tell you, I'm here, I'm fine.
Right.
There was a guy I first read, he died in a motorcycle accident. His mother was in the office, and he looked at me with those crystal blue eyes and he said, would you tell her I'm more alive now than when I had a body?
I agree with that because I have, because I come from a family background, if anybody cares or is interested, both my parents were alcoholics / addicts. My mother died when I was 15 at my feet suddenly. And I've had a rough life.
Yes.
And lots of addiction and alcoholism and early deaths surround me. So I tend to get a lot of death by addiction, accidental overdose, purposeful overdose, a lot of people who take their own lives. I had one earlier today. But I think that's because that's in my database, and that's what my life experience.
And they know you understand them. Yeah.
And they know I can understand an addict's behavior because I've been surrounded by them my whole life.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of that. And I had a student actually just pass about a month ago at his own hands.
Oh.
And so I've been getting a lot more of those people who unalive themselves coming into my readings. But they are so much more vibrant.
Yeah, I like the Catholic Church and stuff. When I was I knew a lot of Catholic, you're going to be condemned to hell and all that. And that's not what I saw.
I agree with you.
God is omnipresent and loved his children. And for you to take your own life was a cry for help,
Sorry, I think there's a little delay. I tell my clients and anybody who will listen, God wouldn't punish someone who's already suffering.
Right.
It's like if a kid slammed his hand in the door and was crying, you wouldn't spank him.
Right? Exactly.
You're not going to punish somebody that's suffering.
Right.
And I did grow up Catholic, and we were told in demons and Satan and hell and you're going to hell if you commit suicide and blah, 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 blah. I never believed any of that. It never felt right. It didn't feel like that's how it should be. Like, it just didn't feel like it. Like, why would God punish somebody if somebody's going to that length, if they're suffering that bad?
So
Why would they get out of their
pain?
Right.
So, have you had any encounters with evil?
With evil?
Mm-hmm.
I have not had any encounters with evil. Like, I haven't had any evil spirits. I haven't. Now I have nightmares, if that counts. But I haven't had any encounters with any evil spirits ever in a reading. And I actually was going to ask you about that because I've heard you talk about evil spirits or something to that effect, or Satan or something.
Well, there was a man that was giving heartache to a woman I read. It was her son-in-law. And I saw the black force on top of him. And I said to her, okay, so either he gets thrown in jail or he's going to die pretty soon. She said, what? He was young. I said, because he's got this black energy and he's getting ready to go. And I think within a month, she called me and told me her daughter, in trying to save herself, had to shoot through a door and kill him. So she killed her husband, never went to jail for it because they had so many complaints about him. He was losing his mind. And I read him after that. I read for the daughter. And he was as happy and as loving, told her what to do with his animals and his things. She's the one that couldn't get over it because she felt so much guilt,
Yeah. Wow.
But I've gone to people's homes and literally saw something that was attaching to a woman. And we used the holy water and we had the stick thing up, and we did all that and we worked our pachikas off. And I still don't know if we really got rid of it all the way. They can be tenacious.
So are these spirits that you're seeing, or these energies? Like, is this
evil energy?
Evil energy. Okay. I'm glad that you said that because that's in alignment with what I believe. I think evil energy can be manifested, but I don't think it's someone's soul. That's my opinion.
No, I don't get that. I just see there's some attachments that can happen. I know I was going to do a ghost thing at my dad's house. There was something in that house, in my parents' house. I could only run in and get what my dad needed and run out because he was in the hospital. And some ghost friends of mine that were ghost hunters, they set up the cameras and the walkie-talkies, and the one guy, you could see him on camera. He's sitting in my dad's chair. And we no sooner sat down and a woman screaming, help me, help, through the walkie-talkie.
Oh.
We all stood up and the guy ran to the door, to the kitchen door, and he opens it and he said, Did you guys hear that? He said that, and then right next to him, the wall there, boom, boom, boom. That, I'll tell you what, we packed our stuff and got the hell out of there.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I tell people, there's no evil souls. Like when you pass away, your soul isn't evil, but there is evil energy that can do all kinds of stuff.
Case in point, that gentleman I was telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had black. I saw the evil on him. But when he passed, they didn't follow him to the other side.
And my co-host for my podcast actually starts this Friday on Spotify and everywhere. Her name's Lady Shadow. She's a white witch, and she has been to Gettysburg many times. She does ghost.
I want to go to Gettysburg.
She's incredible. She's been there many times. She has EVPs. She has video of orb storms. She has seen exactly what you're describing. And she and I have had many discussions about, is it energy? Is it a soul? Just exactly what we're discussing right now. And wow, I mean, her experiences are incredible at Gettysburg. Yeah, we're going to have an episode about that, but we got to bank so many and get them distributed.
Right. She should have a tour where she takes people and they can see what they feel.
Absolutely.
We need to go to Gettysburg. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, she's been there many times, and she probably easily could have a tour and take people there for sure. So I am just thrilled to talk about all of this stuff with you. I had another question. What do you think about the energy shifts, and what are your impressions for the collective? Like, how is this all going to pan out? We're going
to get better. I'm not trying to wish upon a star. I'm telling you, it's going to be better. But we're going through shifts. We're going through horrible hurricanes, big time.
Yeah, people are commenting. There's apparently a hurricane and some tornadoes.
Oh, really?
People are like, if you're I've been looking at and
then you got this president who's not doing anything to help people rebuild. Even Huckabee, who used to be his girl, he refused her to help Alabama. So people are just, I'm telling you, you guys, we're going to see a huge awakening. But unfortunately, the shifting of this earth, Mother Earth isn't doing this to punish us. Mother Earth is recuperating. And we'll get stronger. We'll help each other. We'll work together. And there'll still be ugly around. But I think the shift is happening because we're going into another dimension. We're vibrationally getting stronger. Yes. Who I am today is nothing like I was 10 years ago.
I am the same. I am the same.
Night and day. Even the way I think, I don't get phobic like I used to. I don't overthink things.
That's part of the spiritual awakening process.
Of course, unless it's Gerard. If Gerard comes around, I do get a little bit. I will hold my stomach in and not worry about passing gas.
I know, I have the same. I love that. And I taught environmental science for years in Georgia, where the people who I was teaching didn't even believe the climate was changing, and which was very hard as an educator. And I remember telling them, look, we're not destroying the earth. We're destroying the ecosystems we rely on as humans. The earth is going to be fine. The animals will bounce back.
Yeah.
We are not going to survive it if we don't start acting better.
Exactly, girlfriend.
And it's just like,
I know this is a tough time, and I've been telling people. In fact, when he first got in, I told you, everybody, listen, 6 months, tough.
Yep.
After that, you're going to start getting some breaks. So, just hang in there. Now, listen, I just did a show with Arthur, my buddy Arthur at Ease.
I think
I didn't know this, and I looked it up, and what he said is the truth. This Medicaid that they're cutting? It doesn't happen until January 1st, 2029.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can Google.
Wow, because my sister is disabled and she's on Medicaid and she's terrified. And I said, I said, it's a
Google
bunch
it
of
and send
noise.
her the article.
I said, it's a bunch of noise. Don't worry, because she's panicking because she has no other source of income because she's disabled and she needs medical care. And I'm like, it's a bunch of noise. It's a bunch of noise. Think about how many disabled and elderly people and young children are on Medicaid. It would devastate this economy. People would be dropping dead in the streets. It would be horrible. It cannot be done. Cannot be done.
2029. I couldn't believe it. I said that SOB, he's not even going to be around.
Yeah, right. What, like the people with the 2028 shirts already?
Oh, he's not. It doesn't matter. He's not going to be there.
I know, but what is happening?
Now, if you've watched me, you know about my dream. One of the things that I always talked about was the dream I had with him in a glass coffin.
Really?
I had this vivid dream. It was so vivid. And I was in a big shopping mall, with all the little stores. And there was a few people, not much. And there's these lights, almost like the lights on Stalin.
I remember seeing pictures of that.
It was Trump. And he had the suit with the red tie. And
the long red tie to make him look thinner.
Yeah. And I looked and I thought, oh my God, that's Donald Trump.
Wow.
And when you have dreams of people in coffin, it usually foretells death. But being that it was a glass coffin, I always thought, will he destroy himself before the public? Because there will come a time, and right now I feel it so strong, I have to tell you guys, there will come a time that he will be, they're throwing tomatoes at him. That people are they're done with him. And the other thing is, like I said, when he won, and I told my guides, how could you? They said, man has free will.
Yep.
And his people need to see who he really is. And that's true, too. Because if he hadn't won, they would have still been marching in the streets, acting all up.
Somebody said in the comments that The Simpsons had an episode with him in a glass coffin. I didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never watched The Simpsons.
I didn't. I mean, I watched the first season, I think, but haven't since. And somebody said glasket, like casket.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's definitely going down. But what's happening is we energetically are going to be affected by the environment. Look what's happening, though. Like in Canada and in Australia. And then what was that big one that just got won by a real good guy?
I can't watch the news, so I don't know.
Okay, well, all these other countries who were going to go right, pick Trumpians, turn around and went the opposite direction.
Yeah. I can't remember what country it is, but I do now.
3 of them now.
Yeah. Because I always say the pendulum shifts. The pendulum shifts. And my oldest son is a history expert and self-taught, by the way. He's a genius.
Everybody's saying Romania. Okay.
Oh, okay. And I was very concerned after the last election, as we all were. And I called him up and I was like, oh my God, I'm so upset, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, Mom, this has happened throughout history. Always. Yes. Always. It happens. People are terrible. There are these terrible leaders.
And terrible cheating took place with this too.
Oh, I believe, I just
How are you going to say that the vice president had these huge events where they stand
I know.
and he had half a crowd and he had to pay most of them?
I agree. The other thing I have on my list, because I can't remember anything, is what did you think about his little ear?
Oh, that was a lie.
Like the doctor said 2 centimeters of his ear was gone. 2 centimeters is almost.
The doctor said they'd never seen anything like it. He said his ear was blown off and it grew right back.
Wow, they said that.
He said that. Trump said that.
Oh my God!
I watched it out of his own lying mouth. That thing was a setup, and I can't tell you how I know, but I got a little inside information, and I can't repeat it. But I will tell you, it was a setup because they were so worried about his numbers, how bad they were. They did that to push them over the edge.
And I think that this Elon stuff, now I'll tell you, I am a sitting member of a steering committee of a huge Mars organization. My specialty is Mars. That is my specialty. That's what I've been studying for like 25 years. So here's my little Mars globe. Now, I have seen Elon Musk speak in person in 2012 at our conference when SpaceX was first becoming a thing. And we depend on him. We collaborate with him in our organization. He funds one of our telescopes and all kinds of stuff. We never imagined what's happening, and all the NASA budget cuts, which will end all of this research, is devastating to all these scientists, all of these people who work in, who've worked on Mars rovers for 20 years. And now they're just going to.
It'll all be back. Don't worry. Just give it I'm sorry you got to wait a little bit. It'll all be back. But his mind got blown from ketamine. He's taken.
Oh, absolutely. He was, if you watch the video in 2012 of him speaking to our group in Pasadena, Elon is a very completely different person than when you hear him speak now.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He was coherent. He was brilliant. He had futuristic thoughts and it was great. And it was so exciting. And now what is happening?
Yeah.
Like he's off the rails completely. And it's so sad because he started SpaceX and Solar City and bought into Tesla apparently to make the world better.
Oh yeah.
And now it's a 180. Like I own a Tesla.
Oh my gosh.
I know, but now I can't sell it.
Yeah.
I'm stuck.
Well, that truck, whatever that one is, it's so ugly. It's not even funny.
I know. My husband used to want one so bad. And I'm like, that thing's so ugly.
It's really.
Don't park one of those in my driveway.
Yeah.
Now especially.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad we're on the same page. And I know you talk a lot about communicating with your ancestors.
Yes.
Now, I would love to learn about how you discovered to communicate with them, because I'm kind of like a little afraid to really go there for me, because I'm just like get overwhelmed when I do my sitting in the power, because I always go out to the universe when I do my sitting in the power, and it can be overwhelming.
Well, the ones I really get big time are Ulysses S. Grant.
Really?
John Kennedy. They come to me all the time.
Wow.
Roosevelt, he told me that Biden would be the New Deal, not exactly, but more like the New Deal. These guys give me a lot of information. And then, I'm Comanche, a native Comanche.
Right.
But I don't get the masters, the chiefs, as best as I can, the female energy, which is interesting.
Wow.
There's a lot of powerful Native American women on the other side.
It's interesting because the family history of my family was that my grandma's grandma was a Cherokee or a Blackfoot. I could never get a straight answer. And when I did my DNA, I came back like 1% to 2% Indigenous American.
Right.
But in my family tree, they're all European. So somebody somewhere had some hanky-panky going on.
Yeah, well, I'm half and half. I have white. My dad was Scottish, English, Irish, Dutch. I can do that lineage all the way back to King David of Scotland and William the Lion. Direct lineage. But my mom's side is very hard, but the indigenous is in there. But I have 3% African too.
Yeah, I have, but I have Ancestry and 23andMe, and it goes between 1% and 3% from Nigeria.
My son said everybody has African in.
Well, we are all from Africa, but if you have 1% to 3%, that's not that long ago. That's not.
Yeah, that's what my son was saying. So I don't know if it's from my Native American or is it from my dad's side, because there was a lot of the people that came over. We had Union and we had Confederate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there could have been some. There was one William that had tons of slaves. And, I don't know if that's from him or what.
My mother, who passed in 86, her maiden name was Drury, like the Drury Inns, the Drury Inn hotels. Yeah. Her dad's family started those. Now, he passed when she was 4 years old. She passed when I was 15 years old. But Drury, I traced it back on Ancestry, comes from Druid. She's
I love it.
I traced her lineage to 1020 and straight to the Druids in England.
I love it.
And then when I became a medium, I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now I know, because she was very psychic. And so when I was about 10 years old and my little sister was about 5 years old, remember the show Soap?
Who?
Soap. It was a nighttime drama or a nighttime satire about soap operas.
Yeah, I never saw it.
It was in the 70s. So we were watching that show. My mom was reading a UFO book and I'm sitting next to her and the lights were all on in the living room. There's a demon possessed baby in the show. Okay. It was kind of making fun of soap operas. And my sister and her boyfriend were over here on the love seat. We had a German Shepherd laying on the ground and the drawer of the table shot out 6 feet over the dog into the middle of the living room. And my mom had powers, but she was an alcoholic.
Okay.
So she never really, and in the 70s, and she had 5 kids in a row. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, see, Billy Crystal. That's right. Billy Crystal was in it.
I don't recall watching that show.
Yeah. That was one of the big paranormal things that happened to me as a kid. So I always had that woo-woo in my mind.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was crazy. There's still no explanation for why that drawer shot out across.
Isn't that wonderful?
I think she was she was using telekinesis and didn't know it. And she was just so charged up.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. I'm sure you go ahead.
Unfortunately, yeah, I have to go because my son's dinner's in the oven.
Perfect time.
We've been on almost 50 minutes. So that's
it's perfect. Thank you everyone who subscribed to my mailing list, who booked readings. I am sure my calendar is completely full now. I hope, Linda, we can talk again live because, oh my God.
Oh, yes. Be sure to, in June, we'll do something.
Yeah.
Somebody just said in the 70s it was called social drinking. Because really, when I was young, you go to someone's house, 5 o'clock was cocktail hour.
Yeah. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
5 o'clock somewhere. Exactly. Linda, I cannot wait to talk to you again.
Thank you. You're a great person. You're very easy to talk to. And I'm very happy that you reached out to me and we will do this again.
Next time, I want to talk about UFOs.
Ooh, yes.
I wanted to see my little UFO lamp. I wanted to talk about that tonight, but we ran out of time.
I'm very interested in it. I have to feed my son.
All right. UFOs. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.